Welcome back to The Forge, everyone. I'm Robert Jerome Pagan. It has been way too long, but I'm back, and today we have a gigantic episode. But I'm sitting here looking at the cover of my book, Performance is Freedom, and I'm thinking about the energy in the room when I was writing these essays. It wasn't calm. It wasn't even an academic process. It was a fever. I was looking at a world, at an industry that felt like it was closing in on us. And we decided to build a doorway where there was only a wall. So I called it the Jerome method. But let's be clear. The Jerome method isn't about acting in the way they teach you in those overpriced conservatory schools or studios where everyone sits in a circle and they cry about their childhood and their trauma. No, it's about sovereignty. It's about the fact that as a performer, you are the only one who owns the space between your skin and your soul. I wrote this as a call for a total creative liberation, especially for those of us who have to fight twice as hard to be seen. As a Afro-Latino creator, as a queer man, I've seen the way the industry tries to sanitize us. They want our flavor, but they don't want our fire. And this book was my way of saying you can't have one without the other. But I look around today. It's April 2026, almost 2 years after I wrote the book, and I see something that breaks my heart. We've entered an era of what I call the social ghost. I see these actors, these creators, and they're haunted. They aren't haunted by the characters they play. They're haunted by the image they're trying to project. They spend 4 hours a day curating a digital footprint and 4 minutes a day working on their craft. They are so terrified of being unfiltered, so paralyzed by the fear of making a choice that might not trend well, that they bleached their soul out of their work. I've been on sets lately where I've looked into an actor's eye and I don't see a human being. I see a LinkedIn profile. I see someone who is calculating the safe way to deliver a line. They've traded an unrestrained philosophy for a digital mask. It's a mask that looks perfect in 4K. The skin is flawless. The eyes are bright. The vibe is all right. But the second I ask for a piece of their bleeding humanity, there's nobody home. That is the rock. The Jerome method and the craft demands that you be raw. It demands that you stand in your truth when it's ugly, especially when it's ugly. You know why? Because ugly is where humanity lives. Ugly is where the rebellion starts. If you're trying to be pretty and palatable and marketable every second of the day, you're not an artist, you're a product. And products don't change the world. Products get replaced with a newer version that comes along. I'm telling you now from the center of the forge, you cannot be free and be obsessed with being liked at the same time. Let me say that again. You cannot be free and be obsessed with being liked at the same time. Those two things cannot occupy the same body. If you are waiting for an algorithm to tell you that you have value, or if you're waiting for a follow to give you that courage to make a bold choice, you've already surrendered. You've handed your sovereignty over to a machine that doesn't care about you and certainly doesn't care about your art. We need to get back to the marrow. We need to get back to the place where the work is the only thing that matters, where the performance isn't a polite request for attention, but a radical declaration. I am here, I am here, I am here, like a gosh darn who on a spec. This book was a promise I made to myself and to everyone to stay unrestrained. And right now, looking at the hollowed out shells walking through the industry, I realize that the promise is the only thing keeping the lights on in this forge. If you're listening to this and you're tired of not moving forward, if you're tired of playing a ghost, it's time to wake up. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. I'll be right back after this intro. Let's get into the trenches. I want to talk about the blood, the sweat, and the absolute frustration of independent production in this climate. Right now, as I'm recording this, we're deep in the movement of RJC projects from Hadessa into the unknown, Blue Note, the bastard Oxford, just so much projects. We're in the thick of it. And while the footage is stunning, why the audio is amazing, the process is revealing a disease that is eating the heart of our industry. I call it the flake epidemic. As an independent filmmaker, I don't have a studio safety net. I don't have a $200 million buffer to absorb the ego of a lead who decides they don't want to show up. Every time I step on a set in Henderson or Las Vegas, I'm carrying the time, the money, and the dreams of every person on my team. When I bring you onto a set, I'm handing you a piece of my vision. I'm trusting you with the craft, but I'm seeing a shift in the talent pool that should terrify anyone who wants to make movies. We've entered a cycle where actors treat call sheets like a suggested attending list on a social media invite. I've had people flake because they got a better offer or a one-day commercial or a social media collab. I've had people flake because they simply didn't feel the energy that morning. Let me be incredibly clear. The energy of a set is whatever you bring to the mark. If you aren't there, there is no energy. You're killing projects. This isn't just about unprofessionalism. It is a fundamental lack of respect for the craft. In the indie world, we are warriors. We are out here fighting to tell stories the mainstream is too cowardly to touch. But we're being sabotaged from the inside by hobbyists who want the IMBD credit and the real footage, but refuse the discipline of the artist. They want the glamour of the rap party without the grit of a 4 a.m. call time. And I'm done. I'm officially done with the social ghost who thinks their presence is a favor. This is exactly why I'm pivoting towards the resident roster at RJPC Studios. I need a core group of actors who understands that being unrestrained doesn't mean being undisciplined. It means being so reliable, so grounded, and so prepared that your freedom on camera becomes undeniable force of nature. If you want to be a part of what we're building, your word has to be your bond. If you sign that contract, you show up. You show up when it's cold. You show up when the scene is hard. You show up when your personal life is a mess, because the camera doesn't care about excuses. It only cares about the truth. We need to shift the culture back to professional integrity, or we're going to lose the power of independent film forever. We cannot build a rebellion of art on flaky foundations of actors. Now, I want to talk about something that's going to make a lot of people uncomfortable, but it has to be said. We need to talk about the paycheck delusion. Lately, I've been looking at the landscape, and the truth is, too many actors are walking into the arena demanding daily rates and high pay when they haven't invested a single dime, a single hour, a single drop of sweat into their own foundation. They walk onto a set, my set, your set, and they expect a top-tier paycheck, but they haven't gone to school. They haven't worked in the craft. They haven't spent years in theater. They haven't invested in their own training, their own knowledge, or even their own basic equipment. They don't know the difference between a 35 millimeter or an 85 millimeter lens. They don't understand how to find their light. They don't know the tech that is literally recording their face, yet they want to be treated like a seasoned pro who has spent 20 years in the trenches. Catering to this entitlement is killing this industry. It's creating a vacuum where the people who actually know what they're doing, the ones who have studied, the ones who have sacrificed, are being drowned out by the people who just want status. The truth is simple. Not everyone gets paid, not at the start. If you aren't going to school to learn, if you aren't seeking out mentors, if you have zero experience, don't expect a paycheck from your first invitation on set. Heck, don't expect a paycheck from your 13th invitation on set. That invitation is your paycheck. That set is your classroom. You are being given the chance to watch the gears turn, to see how a vision becomes reality, and to learn from people who have already paid the price of admission and who know what they're doing. In the Jerome method, we talk about performance as freedom, but freedom isn't free. You earn it through sacrifice, through mastery. You pay for it with your time. You pay for it by doing your dues. You spend those nights running lines until your brain is numb. You work the no-pay indie shorts because you need the experience more than you need the $50. When you demand high pay without having the knowledge to back it up, you're not an artist, you're a predator. You are draining resources from a production that could be going towards the actual art. If you want a career in this, you have to invest in yourself first. You have to be worth the rate before you ask the rate. Stop looking at the paycheck and start looking at the craft, because if the craft isn't there, the money will never be enough to save you. We need to shift the culture back to a place where we respect the ladder. You don't get to start at the top. You start on the ground, you put in the work, and you earn your way to the forge. I want to lean in close for this one. I want to talk to the creators who are on the verge. You've got the talent, you've got the vision, and you think you're ready to take on the world. But there is a silent predator in this industry that no one warns you about. Not in school, not at home. It isn't the gatekeepers, it isn't the critics, and it isn't even the funding. It's the partner constraint. If you're serious about this, if you truly want this as a career and not just a hobby to flex on social media, your first loyalty has to be to the truth of your work, period. But I see it every single day. A brilliant performer starts to dim their light because their partner doesn't get the life. I'm talking about the boyfriend who gets insecure because you're doing a heavy emotional scene. I'm talking about the girlfriend who starts a fight at 2 a.m. before your biggest shoot day because she feels neglected by your ambition. This is the quietest, quickest way to kill your legacy. Conformity in your personal life is the absolute precursor to mediocrity in your professional life. Let me repeat that. Conformity in your personal life is the absolute precursor to mediocrity in your professional life. You cannot practice the craft from inside a cage. To be unrestrained means you have to be willing to go into the dark, to be messy, to be too much. But I see actors starting to sanitize their art to keep the peace at home. They start choosing safe roles because they're afraid of friction at the dinner table. They start pulling their punches because their partner is threatened by their power. And let's talk about the real cost. I've lived this recently. I had an actor pull out of a project because of this exact trap. They let their partner's insecurity and their own lack of backbone dictate the fate of a professional set. And you want to know the damage? $25,000 of hard-earned production money, crew time, and creative momentum flushed down the toilet because someone couldn't tell their partner no, because someone chose a temporary relationship over their permanent calling. That actor thought they were being loyal to their partner, but all they were doing was being a traitor to their craft. They became a financial wrecking ball, sabotaging the very people who are trying to elevate them. If your partner requires you to be less so they can feel like more, you aren't in a relationship, you're in a prison. You are being held hostage by mediocrity. Your partner should be the one holding the flashlight while you dig in the dark, not the one trying to douse your flames because they're worried about the smoke. If you don't support the unrestrained version of you, the version that shows up, the version that stays late, the version that is obsessed with excellence and subtext, then they don't deserve the version of you that succeeds. When you're starting out, you have to be ruthless with your environment. You cannot build an empire with someone who is trying to keep you at ground level. If you have to choose between a partner who wants to stay normal and a career that demands you become extraordinary, you choose the work every single time, because the work won't wake up one day and tell you it's intimidated by your greatness. Guard your flame. If you let someone blow it out now, you'll be sitting in the dark for the rest of your life, wondering what could have been. I want to talk to my peers now. I'm talking to the producers, the production houses, the directors who are actually in the trenches with me. We need to have a conversation about the silence that is killing our industry. There needs to be a systematic and seismic shift in how we communicate. For too long, independent theater and film have been operating under a protectionist mindset. We're so afraid of being seen as difficult or mean that we've started protecting the very people who are making the industry a joke. We're protecting the laughable actors. And I don't just mean people who can't find their light. We have to stop. We have to start being brutally, unapologetically open and honest with each other. If an actor lies on their resume and says they speak French when they can't even order a croissant, call them out. If someone claims that they spent a year at a prestigious program when they really only did a 1-week workshop and then slapped their name on their CV to buy unearned credibility, call them out. And more importantly, we need to call out the acting teachers who are whispering in their students' ears, telling them it's okay to lie to get in the room. No, it isn't. It's a cancer. It's an insult to the people who actually did the time, who actually spent their years in the craft, honing their craft, while these hobbyists were busy polishing their lies. We have to stop protecting people who make this about themselves instead of the art. The social ghost lives on these lies. They build a house of cards out of resume padding and fake experience. And then we wonder why the production collapses when things get real. And let's be even more honest. We have to stop pandering. We have to stop walking on eggshells. If someone isn't good, we need to tell them. I'm done with the everyone gets a trophy mentality in independent film. Art isn't safe. Art isn't supposed to be coddling. If you want to be coddled, go to a goddamn spa. If you want to make art, be prepared for the truth. If your performance is hollow, I'm going to tell you it's hollow. Not because I'm the villain, but because I respect the craft too much to lie to you. If you don't tell people where they are failing, we are robbing them of the chance of actually growing. Coddling is a slow death of excellence. But this isn't just on the actors. This rebellion has to go both ways. On the same hand, we cannot allow directors and producers to continue to operate if they harm their cast. Whether it be physical safety, total lack of professional boundaries, if you can't protect your people, you shouldn't be leading them. It's simple. It's simple. And when you make a mistake, you grow, or you just don't go. If we want to grow, we have to make the hard choice. And the hardest choice is walking away from the hobbyist ideology. Too many people want the title of filmmaker because they think it sounds cool at a party, or because they want to do a 48-hour film festival, or they entered one short in a no-name Vegas film festival. But let's look at the reality. Most of the people aren't filmmakers. They're sitting in their garage or on their dining room table, making a model, playing pretend, while the rest of us are out here bleeding for the frame. Stop playing dress up with our industry. If you aren't here for the work, the sweat, the honesty, the brutal reality of the craft, move aside. If you're here for a craft service table, get a real job. The Forge is for creators who understand that the fire is what makes the blade. If you can't stand the heat, stop trying to manage the furnace. Look, I love a good vibe. We all do. That's why we're in this. When the lighting is hitting right, when the Blackmagic 6K's texture looks cinematic, and the energy in the room is electric, that's the magic. That's the grounded absurdism. we're always chasing. But here's the truth we have to face. You cannot sustain a world-class vibe on a flaky foundation. I'm going to say that again. You cannot sustain a world-class vibe on a flaky foundation. The vibe is the atmosphere, but the actor is the oxygen. If the actor is a ghost, if they're lying on their resume, flaking on their commitment, or shrinking themselves to fit a partner's comfort, the oxygen leaves the room. The vibe dies. You're left with a beautiful set and a hollow center. The shift we need in independent film isn't about being mean or cold. It's about being honest because we love the art too much to watch it fail. It's about realizing that performance is freedom means having the freedom to be your most authentic, unrestrained self, but knowing that freedom is earned through the work. You don't get the high pay daily rate just for having the look. You get it for having the knowledge, the training, and the professional integrity to back it up. We have to stop protecting the hobbyist who are just playing dress up in our own industry. When a lead actor flakes and causes $25,000 in damage, that's not just a bad day. That's an assault on the dreams of everyone else on that project. We need to start talking to each other. Producers, directors, creators, we have to be open. We have to call out the coddling. Not to be gatekeepers, but to be protectors of the craft. If you want this as a career, you have to be the architect of your own fire. Don't let a relationship or lack of discipline be the thing that douses it. If you're just starting out, pay your dues. Learn the tech. Go to school. Invest in your soul. Find a mentor who cares. Don't expect the paycheck before you've built the value. I want to hear from you. Drop a comment. Tell me about times you've had to fight for your work, or times you've seen a project killed by the very things we've talked about today. Let's start a real conversation here. No more walking on eggshells. The Jerome method, the RJPC ideology, is about being unrestrained. It's about taking the power back. It's about ensuring that when we create something like Into the Unknown or Hadessa or Paranormal Salad Dressing or Rebellion or whatever comes next, the vibe isn't just a coat of paint. It's the heartbeat of a sovereign creator who actually knows who they are. Stay unrestrained. Keep the vibe alive, but make it real. I'm Robert Jerome Pagan, and I wish you all the luck in the world. Create. But don't come to the forge if you want to play a hobby. Our fire's too hot for that. See you next month on our next episode. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. And check out Paranormal Salad Into the Unknown, episode 1, dropping on streamers in May. Bye, everyone.